Good morning. Hello, Stevie. Yeah, it did. My email did go out. I received it. Lynn, good morning. Michael, good morning. Yeah, I received it, Stevie. So, um, hmm. Nancy, good morning. Did the rest of you receive my email? So the link is actually, I think, the same every week. But we do send out my link. What I haven't been sending out, though, is my newsletter. I was so good ever since July last year. I never missed a week. And then February just didn't. And then also I went away. So I'm going to get back on track with that next week. But all my other emails should be going out. Hi, Raina. Michael, you did get it. Nancy, you did get it. Yeah, Stevie, check your spam folder. Maybe I'm tagged as spam for you. And that could happen. I've been having a lot of spam. Even my husband, believe it or not, his emails started going into spam. I thought that was so funny because it's just, I don't know. He went into spam. Like, is Gmail trying to tell me something here? You got it too, Raina. Okay. Hi, Kathy. You got it. Good morning. Nice to see you. Hi, Lynn. All right. So, okay. So I think it did go out, Stevie. So check that and make sure. All right. Well, welcome. Here we are. Oh, gosh. All right. So, gosh, so many things I was thinking this morning. And if any of you have anything you want to share with me, please do so. But I was really, so much came up for me today. So, as I was preparing and getting ready to teach, I was putting my mat down on the ground. And this mat is the mat that I used to take with me the most often when I would go away to yoga retreats or study yoga and yoga conferences. And I did a lot of that probably starting early 2000s to probably like 2017 when my hip became a real big issue and I had my first surgery. And that was like the 2015 actually is when that happened. So I don't do that as often. So I thought about this mat and how this mat's been so many places with me on retreats. I did not take it to India with me, but I've taken it to a lot of places, retreats that I've traveled to in the States. And so it's been a lot of places. So I really thought about like this being my practice. And then that brought me to what is this that we're doing? Like, what is this yoga that we're doing? And what does this mean for us? And then I was just on a trip for 19 days in Europe, walking all over the place, climbing stairs, exploring, experiencing. And, travel's not so easy, right? It's not so easy to go through time zones. It's not so easy to go places where the streets are uneven, where there's a lot of stairs everywhere, just a lot of factors. And it made me think about how important it is to be healthy and strong. And when I was in Scotland last week, this class on Wednesday, I taught from Montrose, which is on the east coast of Scotland. And after this class, I had a chair class. And this woman said to me, she said, "Wow, this is great that you're teaching us from Scotland." She goes, "It's great you're traveling." She goes, "Because we can't." And I mean, she was referring to herself and maybe some others. She said, "We can't do that." She said, "So do it for us." And I just thought, wow. I mean, maybe there are some of us that travel will be prohibitive at a certain point and maybe different stages in our lives. But what it really made me realize too is how important it is to do what we can do. And so I have a question for you all, and I want you to think about this question. It might be my newsletter question next week. I want you to close your eyes for a second, and I want you to think about how many more years do you think you have left to live? How many more years do you still have? Not do you have left, sorry. How many more years do you have about approximately to live your life? And I know you don't have a crystal ball, and I know that you're not going to guess, but really, I want you to think about that number. Maybe you have relatives that have lived long or whatever that is, right? And even if you only thought it was 5 more years, 5 times 365 days is what you have to live. So open your eyes for a second. So whatever those years are, we want to make them be the best that they can be. And that is what's important. So what we do here is we keep your physical package in good working order. We focus on breath work so that you could practice calming your mind, staying present moment to heal yourself internally and to balance your nervous system, balance your cardiovascular system, and balance your respiratory system. And that is what we are doing healing work when you're here. So I want you to think about that today. And that whole thing about how many years you have left, that's why I do what I do. That's why I teach. That's why I show up in the way that I do. Because when I was 49 and my hip was broken, I thought, oh my gosh, I've got about 40 more years to live at least. And I don't know, I mean, maybe it would be 10, maybe 20, who knows? But that just sounded like such a big number to me. So even if your number is 10, 15, 20, 30, whatever it is you think, that's a lot of years. And so really thinking about what you want those to be like is why you're going to be here today. It's why you're going to focus on your breath. It's why you're going to bring your mind back when your mind goes to yesterday or tomorrow. It's why you're going to breathe through one more breath to stay there to strengthen whatever it is you're trying to strengthen in your body and in your mind. All right. That's what we're doing. That's where I've been today with all my thoughts. Good morning, Lauren. Nice to see you. Pat, so good to see you. All right. So let's go do our thing, right? Hopefully that wasn't too much, but hopefully I got you to think. I really want you to think about the quality of life that you want, and that's why you're here, and that's why you're going to do all you can to strengthen, to lengthen, to manage your mind when your mind wanders, to bring yourself back. So for today's practice, we are going to work on our package. You know, I learned once in one of my trainings that we are wind instruments. And if you think about our form of communication is with our sound, our voice. So we are wind instruments. We need to polish our vessel. And that's what you're doing. You're going to unobstruct, you're going to polish, you're going to do everything you would do if you were a Stradivarius violin. I think that's how you say that. If you were a Stradivarius violin, there would be oiling that would have to take place, tuning and all of that. We're going to oil and we're going to tune ourselves here. And we're going to do that physically and mentally and emotionally and spiritually. So all parts of you, your mind, your body, and all of you. So for today, you're going to need a block. You're going to need a strap. You're going to need a blanket, maybe a mat, or you can do on the ground. And you're going to need the willingness to do whatever it is you can do and to be okay with that and to not get frustrated with whatever your limitations are. Because whatever you can do is all you need to do. So we will begin on the ground and then we're going to come to seated to begin our practice. So we're going to come down on the ground because I'd like us to arrive to come to where we are and then even connect to our breath. So bringing yourself down, if you have osteoporosis, making sure that the front part of your spine stays long. You do not press the front of your spine into itself. That contributes to fractures. You're going to reach nice and long with your hand, bring yourself all the way down onto the floor, and then only have the blanket be underneath your head. Quite often when I'm with people in class or even when I work online with people privately, the blanket is on the upper back and the head and neck. So really make sure that you lift the blanket up. It's only on your head and neck. Keep the blanket on the head and neck. Feel the center of your head nice and supported. The back of your neck is nice and long. Your spine is long. And then let's bring the shoulder blades back towards the spine. So press your arms in, slide the shoulder blades back so that you're resting on the shoulder blades. They move towards the spine. Bring your arms down alongside your body. You could keep your knees bent if that feels more comfortable for you. For those with low back issues, for those with hip issues, sometimes having the knees bent feels a little better. If the knees stay bent, have your feet be wider than your body and let your knees fall in towards each other. If you want to go with straight legs, straighten your legs and take your legs wide. Have them be pretty wide so you can be in a nice relaxed position. See how this feels for your body. And if you come here and you want to go back to bent knees, do that. And then let's take your hands. Let's bring the left hand down onto the belly and the right hand up on the top of the chest where the heart is. And then preparing your jaw, your mouth. Take your jaw, wiggle your jaw side to side. Open and close your mouth. And then let your mouth rest. Lips touch, teeth are separated. Spread your hands, let your fingers rest. And begin to notice your breath. So I'd like you to feel what is moving in your body. So get out of the part of your brain that thinks and move to the part of the brain that feels. So yoga for your brain. Feel and notice, where in your body are you moving? See if you could try to just observe and not manipulate your breath. And notice, is the breath in the lower part of your belly, or is it up high in your chest? Notice if your mind was distracted. Bring yourself back to this moment, feeling your body, feeling what's moving. And then begin to breathe down to your belly. Feel the hand that's on the belly rise and fall with breath. See if you could expand the belly a little more. Feel the tissue of your belly stretch, the muscles, the fascia, the ligaments, the tendons, the vessels, the nerves that are moving through those tissues. Bring your awareness up to the hand that's up on the upper chest. Start to breathe to your upper chest and feel the movement of the upper chest. Feel the lungs expand. Feel the bones moving. Feel the muscles stretching. Stay here. Be here and feel all that you could feel. So we're going to move through a couple of wave-like breaths, bringing the breath all the way deeply into the lungs, using the diaphragm to breathe, which is a primary breathing muscle. We're going to focus on that primary breathing muscle, feeling the breath enter your body, feeling the breath leaving your body. I'll talk you through a couple of rounds and then you'll practice on your own. So let's take a big breath to exhale. Breathe into the belly, the lower ribs, and the chest. Exhale, belly, lower ribs, chest. Inhale, belly, lower ribs, chest. Exhale, belly, lower ribs, chest. Inhale, belly, lower ribs, chest. Exhale, belly, lower ribs, chest. Inhale, belly, lower ribs, chest. Exhale, belly, lower ribs, chest. Slowing down. Inhale, belly, lower ribs, chest. Exhale, belly, lower ribs, chest. Inhale, belly,
lower ribs, chest. Exhale, belly, lower ribs, chest. Continue on your own, feeling the hands move, feeling the bones stretch, muscles stretch, tissue stretch. Stay with the belly, lower ribs, and chest. Feel it moving. Go slowly. Notice what you notice. Finishing the breath you're on, take 3 more breaths, noticing, feeling, expanding as much as you can, slowing your breath down to a slow pace, as slow as you can. Feel your hands move, feel your body move, feel your lungs fill with breath, feel your lungs let go of the breath. When you finish the last breath, let the breath go, let the mental aspect of directing the breath and following the breath go. Let your body breathe itself and feel and notice what you notice when your body breathes itself. Bring your awareness to your fingers, to your toes as you start to bring movement into your body. Notice how you're feeling. If you do have pain in any areas of your body, notice if you have the same pains you normally have. Notice if the volume of the pain is the same or was it diminished at all. Then move into a full body stretch if your shoulders will let you. So hands overhead only if the shoulders are going to let you. Otherwise, hands can be out to the side. Stretch, stretch, stretch as much as you can, like you were on a stretcher. Your toes are pointing away, your fingers are pointing away. Really stretch, stretch, stretch. Notice if one side is tighter than the other. Notice right by the lower ribs to the top of the hip bone area. Is there tightness on one side, tightness on both? And then let's do a banana stretch. Straighten your legs if they're not straightened already, and then walk your feet over to the left. Walk, walk, walk. Keep your tushy on the ground. And then take your right leg over your left leg. Try to keep your knees straight. And then take hold of your right wrist. Reach your right wrist long towards the wall behind you and then laterally over to the left. Make your body take on the shape of a banana and keep your shoulder blades and your whole rib cage at the back on the ground. Stretching, stretching, stretching. Try to push the right foot away from you to really deepen that stretch and pull the right wrist up towards the wall behind you and over towards the left, stretching your right side. Feel that. Feel your body touching the ground. Don't let it lift off. You're not rotating. You're not trying to move so much to the left that you're lifting your right shoulder blade off the ground. Breathe down to your right waist, right low belly. And let the breath help to deepen the stretch. And now breathe up to your right armpit, right upper chest. Let the breath come in. Let the breath help to stretch your upper chest, your armpit area. For those of you that have scoliosis, especially if you have scoliosis where the right side is rotating down and towards the left, this could be a great way to stretch the right side, to bring breath into the upper chest cavity, which gets shortened and compacted if you have scoliosis there. This is the larger percentage area where people have scoliosis, and a majority of those that have it are female. One more breath into the total right side of your body, the whole right side. And then slowly, I want you to let go of any tension that's coming into your body. Bring yourself back to a neutral position for a second. Let your arms rest overhead if that's possible, or out to the sides. Let your feet flop. Close your eyes. Feel your right side, feel your left side. Notice if you notice any difference. Staying limber, staying loose, very important for healthy aging and for you to have that great quality of life and be healthy as long as you live in this package that you're in this lifetime. Let's take your feet, walk your feet over to the right. Keep your tushy on the ground, so only as far as you could go. Lift your left leg up and put your left ankle over your right ankle. You could wrap your feet if that's easy for you to do. And then take hold of the left wrist. Palm is up towards the sky. Draw the left arm up towards the wall behind you, and then bending the upper body towards the right. So bending your spine, stretching your body gloves so you feel a stretch in your left side somewhere. Feeling that stretch on the left. Keep your rib cage on the floor, your shoulder blades on the ground. You're not trying to rotate your trunk. You're not trying so hard to get your body to the right. Let the ego not be a part of this, as hard as that is. I like to say, check your ego at the door. Leave the ego off the mat. Not easy to do, but takes work. And practice that here so you can practice that when you're off your mat. Arms lifting up and over. Breathe down to the lower left waist and left belly. And even the left low back. And then bring your awareness and your breath up to the left armpit area, the left heart area. A lot happens here in the upper left part of your body. It's where the lower heart valve or the lower heart chamber is that releases the oxygenated blood back into your body. The blood that has oxygen and all the nutrients to supply to your cells. The left side of the body, the aortic arch above the heart, is where the lymph dumps into the blood so it could go into the heart and then be released back into the system and picked back up into lymph nodes and lymphatic vessels all the way down to your toes. So breathe here, open up the space, use your breath to stretch your heart, to stretch your aorta, to stretch the tissue of the lungs, the tissue underneath the arms where the nerves and the lymphatic vessels travel. One more breath. And then bring yourself to a fully stretched position. Put the arms wherever they feel comfortable. So when you breathe, you're bringing in energy. The exhale releases toxins and poisons. When you breathe, you stretch your bones, your muscles, your ligaments, your joints, your fascia. You stretch the blood vessels that are traveling through those connective tissues, the nerves, the lymph vessels and nodes. So when you breathe, think of all of the potential healing that could come into your body with breath. And when you breathe, you connect your mind to your body. You move to the conscious brain. You move away from the chronic stress loop, which breaks down your body, your mind, which leads to ill health and disease. Go ahead and bend your knees, draw your knees into your chest, rocking side to side. The breath in yoga is the most advanced practice that you'll do, is breathing. So never think that when you show up, you didn't do much or didn't do enough. Focus on your breath and you do most of what you need to do. And then roll onto your side. Take your hand on the ground. Do not lead with your head. Pay attention to that. Let your shoulder be what leads and bring yourself up. Let's take the blanket. Let's fold the blanket. Those of you that have a little bit more tightness in your low back, in your legs, in your hips, will do better off when higher elevated position. I only need to sit on a folded blanket in double like this, but don't let that be your gauge, right? That's my body. That's what I can do. The higher you sit, the easier it'll be on your spine, on your low back, and on your posture and your alignment. And also for bone health, because it'll keep your spine in alignment to keep the minerals in the bones so they don't come out to lay down more surface area when you're out of alignment. So you could use a blanket, or if you have pillows or something like a bolster. A bolster is a really nice thing to put back here to sit on, and then to put a blanket underneath your knees. So if that's something you need, look around for that. And most of you have a pillow or something in your house that you could get that you could sit on. Having a block or two blocks together could be another thing as well. Sitting on one block, most of us, our tushies are too big to feel comfortable on a block. And so it's not the best thing to do. We want to be comfortable when we're practicing. All right, so you're going to come onto your seat, come onto your folded blanket, and come all the way to the front of the folded blanket. Come to the front of your folded blanket or your bolster or whatever you sat on, and then reach down and grab a hunk of flesh and pull your muscle back as far as you can to expose your pelvis so that you're sitting on the pelvis, and then that will help to be a little bit easier to sit. It'll also help with the tension and the tightness in the low back and help to give you that postural correction. You choose whether you want to sit in a position like this with the soles of the feet together, or you could sit with your, I've got my socks on today, a little chilly. Or you could sit in a crisscross leg position if that feels comfortable for you, moving your feet as close to your knees as possible. So moving from here to here if possible. So do what you can do. And then for many of you, you'll probably notice some tightness in the hips. And you know if you have tight hips if your knees are up here. And if your knees are up here, it's probably going to be tugging on your low back, tugging on the glutes, tugging on the hamstrings, tugging on the hips. A lot of tightness here. So that'll be something for you to work towards on opening your hips. And some of what we're going to do here is going to be helping to do that. All right. So let's take the knees here. Why don't you go ahead and put your hands, put your arms, your forearms on your shins on the front. So really the lower leg bones, the two leg bones here, and then the two lower arm bones here. You're pressing them into each other. If you're able to put your fingertips on the ground and still maintain
nice spinal alignment, and especially the front of your spine not collapsing into itself, but really nice and tall. You're able to come forward a little bit. It's a little hip flexion and it deepens the stretch in the hips. For some of you, that may be appropriate. For some not. Try it, see if that works for you. Starting off in the seated position, weight bearing and stretching the hip joint. Breathe down to your belly, breathe down to your hips. Direct the breath where the tension is. Then you're going to take your hands and you're going to walk your hands over one leg. Now keep your spine nice and long here, right? Because even if you don't have osteoporosis, 55% of the people over age 50 do have bone density issues. So 1 out of 2 or 1 point whatever out of 2. So it's a pretty high number. But even if you don't have it, there's no benefit to any of us to collapsing our spine and rounding our spine. So really trying to find that length in your body. And then let's walk over to the other side. The more forward you come with the straight spine, the deeper the stretch will be in your hips. So do what's appropriate. And then I guess if you had a lot of tightness, for those of you that have your knees really high and have a lot of tightness, maybe having a block as something to come forward, to push down, to get a little bit of bend in the hip, to deepen the stretch at some level on the block if you needed that. So always doing whatever is appropriate for you. Take one more breath. Then you're going to come back to center. And if your legs are crisscrossed, I want you to notice which leg is in front, and I want you to switch that. Switch your legs. So we switched our legs, so the opposite leg is in front, and then you're going to bring your hands forward, and you're going to lengthen your spine. Nice long spine, grow out of your pelvis. You may feel that there's a deeper stretch now in one side, that leg that's forward, or I don't know, we're all different. So even if I feel something, it doesn't mean that everyone else is feeling that. What does deepen the stretch though is bringing your body forward. So bringing your body forward is going to deepen the stretch. So see what's appropriate for you. Take one more breath. And then you're going to walk yourself over in front of a knee. So you're facing the direction of the knee. There's a little bit of rotation here. Pay attention to low back. Those of you that have low back issues, pay attention to low back. Make sure that you feel appropriate and make sure you collapse your spine at all to try to get your hands more forward or to try to bend your hip more deeply. Don't compromise your spine. Deep breaths down to the belly. Take one more breath. And then you're going to walk yourself over to the other leg. Wherever you feel tension, direct the breath there. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up, bring yourself forward. Let's get our block. Get your block. You're going to take your legs, bring your block between you, pretty close towards you. You're going to take your legs as wide as you can. So as wide as you can and as straight-kneed as you can. So this will be different for each person. And some of you may be noticing that there's a lot of tightness in your body. Not a position you find yourself in. If you really think about that, there's not very many times in our life that we have a wide leg position. And so that's important that we stretch these muscles here, the inner thigh muscles, for knee health and for hip joint health. So stretching. Now the block is here because if you push down in the block, wherever you need to be with the block, you push down, and not everybody needs to have a block. You could also use the floor to push down. Pushing down into the ground to get nice and tall in your spine. And then if you can come forward with the throat open, the chest lifted, you're bending in the hip joint to come forward, and that'll deepen the stretch. Now, if you push into your legs, you may also be able to help maintain that nice long spine. And then let's flex the feet here. Toes are up towards the sky. In a group class, there's usually a lot of sound effects with this one because people are usually tighter than they realize. And this is one of those ones that kind of gets you to experience that. Take one more breath. And then you're going to bring yourself up. You're going to take your trunk. Now your hip lights are here. If you had flashlights on your hips, they're pointing forward. And if you had flashlights on your heart, they're also pointing forward. We're going to take our heart lights and we're going to rotate our heart lights over one leg. Take your hand, one could be on the block, one could be behind you. Push down to be tall and rotate your trunk in the spread leg position. This will do some stuff to your hips, some stuff to your spine. Pushing your hand down, really lift your spine as you've rotated your heart over in the direction of one leg. Breathe down to your belly. Take one more breath. Now, one really cool thing to note is that when we do this trunk rotation and we're stretching the obliques, those are actually core muscles. So this is core work when you do rotation. Heart light, hip lights. Heart light turns over the other leg. Hand on the block, hand behind you, push down, get nice and tall. Notice the stretch wherever you experience it. And notice if there's anything that happens in your chest, any kind of spinal release or anything that happens. Throat is open, heart is lifted. And then notice if you feel we're adding rotation, right? So everything is connected. Everything is connected, even if it's these muscles that are rotating. Because you're moving the trunk in one way, that you're going to experience that in other parts of your body. So notice where your tension is. Notice where your tightness is. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's take the legs forward. Take the block out to the side for a second, and then put the block in between your legs. Take your hands on the floor right beside you. Go back and forth, side to side. Reach under and grab the flesh again. Grab your buttocks. Grab your big muscles and move them back so you feel your sits bones. And then take your hands on the floor like this. Lift your heart, lift your chest. Squeeze your block, toes point up towards the sky. And then bring your hands up if you can. If you can't, leave your hands down. If you need to leave your hands down, leave them down. Now notice, did your shoulders become shoulder earrings? Lower the shoulders. Press the hands back. Try to get your hands to be flush. Look side to side. Try to get the elbows as high as the shoulders if you can. Pushing the forearm back, the palm back. Try to make sure that the elbow and the wrist is stacked. You're not bending the wrist to try to get the fingers back. Remember, we left the ego at the door. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself down. Lots of upper back and posture work with that one. Take your block off the side. Bring your feet together. See if you could bring your feet a little bit closer to your body. Hold on to your ankles or your lower leg bones. And then to deepen this inner thigh stretch a little higher up on the inner thighs, trying to come forward, not rounding forward. Doesn't matter how far forward you come. It matters that your spine stays long and that you bend at your hips and not your spine so that you can stretch the muscles attached to your pelvis. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself out. Let's take one leg long and the other leg stays bent. Then you're going to take this hand of the leg that's long and you're going to put your hand on the inside. And when you do that, you want to open up that upper shoulder area. So we're going to be rotating open, opening up, not rounding and collapsing, but opening up the chest. So bring the other hand forward, take an exhale, look at your thumb and inhale, reach your hands long, reach, inhale, 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 rotate as much as you can, let that shoulder blade slide towards the spine,
rotate your body, and then exhale to come back. Inhale, reach, reach, reach. And then exhale. Notice if you feel anything happening in your spine. This is a rotational movement. For those that do have scoliosis, any spinal rotation that you know about, this can actually be great to de-rotate the part of your spine that's rotating. Last one, we're going to come here and we're going to stay here. Stay here. Really reach your fingers long, push your heart forward, open both shoulder areas. So don't let your chest collapse. Long spine, reach long. Slide that shoulder blade closer to the spine. Breathe down to your pelvis. Take one more breath. And then slowly, slowly, slowly unwind, bring yourself back. Notice what you notice. Holding that arm up there strengthens the shoulder. For those of you that have shoulder issues, raising the arm might be a challenge. So maybe for you, it's down a little lower, or maybe even bending your elbow and rotating with a bent elbow. So looking at what you can do, not what you can't do, and not thinking you cannot do this movement, but rather finding where in this movement is your range of motion for you with whatever's going on in your body. Let's take the other leg, bending the leg. Set yourself up for this side here. Nice tall spine. Take the hand on the inside of the leg. Take the opposite hand looking at the thumb. Keep the fingers nice and open. You want the flow of your energy to be free. So keeping your hands open versus closing them keeps the energy, the circuit going. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. We inhale in the practice of yoga when our body opens, when we create space and our chest can expand with breath, our belly can expand with breath. We exhale when we close, when the area, the front of the body, the chest shortens or contracts. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Stay here. Nice long spine. Chest is lifted. Fingers are open. Really stretch, stretch, stretch. Try to feel a stretch, because when we stretch our body, not only are we opening and creating more flow, we're also pulling on bones so we could keep our bones strong all over our body. Breathe down to your pelvis. One more breath. And then you're going to bring yourself out and you're going to bring yourself back up. Just let your legs be straight. Let them shake, shake, shake. So with that last movement that we did, when we come into that rotation, if you do have scoliosis, I would do that posture, both sides, and then I would come to the side that I had scoliosis on if I knew that I had that, and do that one double. I'm going to say that for myself, because I have one hip that's a hip replacement, it's a fake hip. I don't know if fake is the right word, but my body doesn't communicate with that side of my body the same way it does here. So I actually do have some rotation entering my upper spine, which is called scoliosis. And when I do this and I come into this, I actually feel a lot of spinal movement. And that's partly because my body is still really mobile and limber. For some of you, maybe there's been a lot of stickiness, a lot of adhesions that have formed. So you might not feel it in that way, but you might feel the stretch of the tissue. And so when I come into that, I feel so much movement. And when I bring the breath down, I feel even more movement. So I know that I'm unwinding this force of rotation in my body. And so when you know that you have issues and you know there's a posture that actually helps what it is you have, then add that into your toolbox of self-care.
All right, so let's move now into the knees are bent again. And if knees bent doesn't feel comfortable for you, you could have the soles of your feet together or your legs long. So choose what's appropriate for you. Doing the sitting up practice adds weight to what we're doing. So it's actually weight bearing for our hips. So it's going to be deeper stretching than it would be if we were lying down on the ground and doing a stretch. All right, so we're going to do what's called a Sufi grind, a circular pattern, and come into whatever position is okay here. We're going to start really small, starting in the very center and then moving away from that circle a little bit wider with our body. I'd like you to keep alignment in the opening at the base of your pelvis, which is an oval. The opening at the base the opening at the top of your pelvis. Base of the pelvis, top of the pelvis. Base of the ribs, top of the ribs, and then base of the skull. Try to keep those ovals stacked so you don't let your head go forward. You keep everything in nice alignment. So really try to get this nice aligned position. So we're going to start in one little circular pattern, in one circular movement, going around like this. Try to keep your chest open, and then maybe making those circles a little bigger. Notice if you feel a stretch. This stretches the lower spine, it stretches the low back, it stretches the hips. It could be a really nice feeling. And then start to go a little bigger, keeping that lineup of low pelvis, low ribs, top ribs, low skull. And if you'd like to close your eyes, holding onto your knees. And then let's match the breath with the movement. You inhale when you come forward. You exhale when you go back. You inhale when you come forward. You exhale when you go back. Try to make it a smooth circle. So close your eyes and feel this as your body stretches to allow you to go off center. And use your hands on your knees. Let your hands hold on to your kneecaps and your legs so that you can actually go a little farther, staying in a really nice smooth circle. The eyes are closed. Notice where you get sticky. Notice where the circle gets a little bit jagged. Notice your edges. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Keep your spine nice and long. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. Find that alignment. The eyes can stay closed. Nice aligned position. We're going to go in the opposite direction. So beginning very small with the circles, keeping the bottom of the pelvis, the top of the pelvis, the bottom of the ribs, the top of the ribs, the bottom of the skull aligned. Start to make your small circles. Close the eyes so you can feel what you're doing. This also helps with balance and the sense of balance. Because as your body moves off center, it's when your muscles and your nerves have to activate. So keeping those lines of communication nice and healthy and open. Start to make your circles a little bigger. When they get a little bigger, they slow down. And then start to match the breath with the movement. Inhaling when you come forward, your entire inhale. Exhale when you go back, your entire exhale. Go slow so you can notice where you're sticky. And then allow the movement to soften the stickiness. Stickiness is minerals that were supposed to be in the bones, but they had to come out to protect you from malalignment, from issues, from injuries, arthritis. So go slow, lubricate your body, unstick yourself where you can, free up those minerals to go back to the bank, the bone bank. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Feel what you feel. Finishing this round, do one more breath, one more circle. Bring yourself back to center, noticing what you notice. And then go ahead and open your eyes. So that definitely made me feel pretty relaxed, that last rotation. Take your legs forward. So we're going to do the spine. We're going to move the spine in the 6 ranges of motion. I want to come up into Hero's Pose, Vajrasana, because it allows for more movement in the spine, but it requires bent knees, and this is not for everyone. So if you know that your knees don't like to bend, you can't sit on your shins in a kneeling position, then you would stay here and do whatever foot position or leg position is appropriate for you. And then for those that can come up, you're going to come forward and bring yourself up. I'm going to arrange my blanket so I could be on my blanket, because it's just something feels so nice and so like self-care, self-love when I'm on a blanket. Like I'm really doing something nice for my body. And I'm going to use my block to sit on. So the block, you could sit on the block on its lowest level, and the block goes between the feet. Or you could put the block on the next level, which is probably the most ideal one for me, I would say. You can also put 2 blocks together, or you could sit on the higher version. Now this is a little narrow, which is why 2 blocks together will get you to this height, and it might be a little better. The other thing is you could put the block in between your tushy and your heels. And that seems to feel okay because it's a wide surface distributing the weight. So whatever it is, I will say that for those with knee issues, having a bolster in between your knees maybe, or a pillow, or definitely 2 blocks and sometimes 3 blocks, because it is the bending of the knee joint that gets really challenging for some. And so you don't want to push that. I did ask Dr. Fishman about that, and it really depends where you feel it. If you feel it over your kneecaps here, then that's going to be tendinous, and the tendons are more prone to injury. If you pull on them, you can tear the tendons. So I wouldn't really recommend that. If you feel it mostly here when you bend your knees, that's muscular. That's the belly of your muscle. And you could work on stretching your quadriceps to get some more flexibility to allow your knees to bend more. So you work on whatever it is you need to keep your package nice and strong and healthy. Okay, so let's move the spine in the 6 ranges of motion. You're either sitting in here, which is a supported hero's posture, Vajrasana, or you're going to sit in crisscross leg position according to what's appropriate for your body. We're going to move first through the flexion and extension, which is the forward movement and then the opening movement. If you have osteoporosis, you do not want to bend this part. You don't want to bend your spine forward. So if you have osteoporosis, come to a neutral on your inhale, and on your exhale. And on your inhale, we can all come forward into extension. I'll turn to the side for you to see this, because it's a little bit easier if I'm at the side. Okay, so flexion would be a rounding, extension is a back bend. Rounding and back bend. So for those of you, let's do a little fast movement here to warm up. So for those that don't really have, know that you don't have osteoporosis, you could do a little bit here, always keeping yourself nice and long anyway, not pressing into the front of the body too much, thinking more about lengthening back. Because when you come into flexion, you actually stretch the back.
So there is an intention for doing flexion. It also stimulates parasympathetic nervous system, so it stimulates relaxation. But you don't want to press on the front of your bone in front of your spine bones if you have osteoporosis. So really being aware and only doing what's appropriate for you. Let's pump some lubrication into our spine, doing a little bit of a faster movement here in flexion and extension. The extension we can all do really deep, really strong, really stretch the belly, lift the lower ribs away from the pelvis. Feel that stretch here. Lift your chest, open your heart. All of us can do this on the inhale. On the exhale, you're either going to come to a neutral if you have osteoporosis, or really let the low back move back the most into your flexion position. Inhale. Exhale. Try to feel yourself rocking on your sits bones that you're sitting on your block, or whatever you have under your tushy. You could let your head be a part of this as well, opening your throat in your extension, teeth are together. Exhale, chin to chest. Stretch the back of the neck in flexion. Remember, if you have osteoporosis, your exhale in flexion will only be lower lumbar, keeping your head and your spine in neutral. And then everyone coming into the extension on the inhale, flexion, exhale. Close your eyes so you can feel what's happening in your body. And then bring yourself into extension. Stay here. A couple of big inhales. Feel the pulling or the stretching of the lower ribs moving away from the pelvis. The belly is stretching. Breathe down to your belly. Open your heart, open your throat. One more breath. And then come back to neutral. There's just something so yummy about stretching our body. And there's something so therapeutic about it too on deep levels. Getting all the fluids to secrete in the fascia that wraps all the muscles, getting the joints to release synovial fluid for lubrication. Feels so delicious. We're going to come into a lateral or a side bending movement. And I'd like you to be very thoughtful here in this as well. So this is not about how far over you go or how much you bend your body. This is taking your spine and bending your spine from side to side and stretching all the tissue that helps. I'd like you to keep your arm on the side of your body. So it's right alongside your ear and not forward near your cheek or your nose. Right alongside your ear. If you have shoulder issues, maybe you lift your elbow. Or maybe you bend your body side to side by bending your spine without letting your shoulder be a part of it. Finding what you can do. Inhale, up and over, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Up and over, really reaching up and over. The next time you come to one side, stay there. Lift your heart up, keep your arm alongside your body. Feel that stretch in your body. You could bend the elbow, do whatever you need to do to feel even more stretch. Breathe down to your belly. And then bring yourself up. Let's go to the other side. Really pull the ribs away from the pelvis. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up, bring yourself back to center. Go ahead and take a break for a second. Close your eyes. Feel your body. Notice what you notice. And then open your eyes. So we're going to bring rotation into the trunk. 26 bones, the 2 that are in the pelvis do not rotate. The 5 in the lower back don't have rotational joints, so they're not meant to rotate. The muscles are what will be a big part of that rotation. 80% of spinal rotation takes place here, where the thoracic spine and the lumbar spine meet. Is right at the lower ribs. So just do that a little bit here. Take your hands on your lower ribs, palms are up towards the sky. Do a little movement here in your middle rib area, or lower rib, middle torso, and see how you feel the stuff stretching, right? You feel your psoas stretching, you feel your muscles, your obliques, your core muscles. Feel all of that stretching when you do this. It's not a big movement, right? This is what rotation is right here. This is your rotational movement. So when you're trying to go into other aspects, when you're in other postures, you're actually bringing in the upper part of your body and other muscles and other things to do it. But the actual rotation spinally takes place right here at the thoracolumbar joint. It's also right around the area where most spinal wedge fractures occur if you have osteoporosis. So actually rotating your spine, if you're nice and lengthened and you're open and not lifting or not pressing on the front of your spine, spinal rotation is one of the best ways to strengthen the vertebra, as long as you're doing it safe and with total awareness. Okay, so this is where your rotation is going to occur in your trunk. 12 bones here attached to the ribs don't really move a lot because they're attached to the ribs. The way that the spine moves here, rotation and also movement, is when you breathe and your rib cage expands and it's attached onto your spine. Just take your hands here for a second. Take an exhale. Inhale. Let your hands go to the sides. Let your elbows move towards your body, and let your shoulder blades move towards the spine where they're trying to pinch, the muscles are turning on. That's movement for that vertebra. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Okay. Then the cervical spine, the 7 bones of the neck, those are the most rotational vertebra that you have. That's where the even though 80% of spinal rotation in terms of the whole spine is here at the thoracolumbar, the majority of rotational ability in the spine is in your neck. So let's move our neck. Take your elbows alongside your body so you're very protective of your thoracic spine, and move your neck here as far as you can without moving your torso. Maybe you hear some crunchy, crunchy. Maybe snap, crackle, pop have joined the party. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's go a little bigger here, letting the rib cage and the whole spine go into rotation. Really thinking about that area underneath your ribs. Take your hand towards the back as you look towards the back. Other hand is on your thigh. You're going to feel low back and core muscles stretch, and then come back to center on the exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let your hand go a little higher. Inhale and watch it. Watch your hand as you go back. Inhale. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe down to your pelvis. You're going to feel even a deeper stretch. Let your hand go higher. And again, one more each side. One more. And then bring yourself back to center. Those were the 6 ranges of motion of the spine. That was flexion and extension. That was lateral flexion to one side, lateral to the other, rotation to one side, and rotation to the other. Okay, so let's take our block off to the side. Go ahead and grab your strap. Get your strap. Let's take our strap overhead. Now, if your shoulders don't like this, you don't have to do this, but let's do a little bit, a deeper stretch here Let the arm that's in the air be straight, the arm that goes down bent. Arm in the air straight, arm that goes down is bent. And go side to side, stretching, pulling your ribs away from the pelvis, really deepening the stretch. Try to keep your strap behind you so that you keep your heart nice and open. The next time you come to one side, stay there. And then coming back up, let's go to the other side. Let's take your strap in front of you, bring your strap up and back, really stretching the chest here. You could stay up here or you could sit down on your heels if your knees will let you. Nice chest stretch here. One more. Come up and over, stay there. Stay here if you can. And then bring yourself back. Let's take the strap. Hold on to the strap like this, like maybe 12 inches. Bring the strap overhead, pulling. Take the strap back, not resting up against your head. Or let's at first try it up against your head so you can arrange yourself. So the strap is the back of the head. You're going to push your elbows back. Hold on to the strap. Now feel like you're ripping the strap and then push the strap back away from your head. Shoulders move away from your ears. No shoulder earrings. Lower the shoulders. Slide the shoulder blades towards the center of the spine. Really push the shoulders towards themselves. Push the hands back and pull the strap out. Nice open heart. Breathe down to your belly. Relax your low back. Feel the heaviness of your pelvis. Low back wants to help with everything. That's why there's so many low back issues. Let your low back be soft. Let it be really soft. Pull out on the strap, push the strap back, slide the shoulder blades towards the center of the spine. Take one more breath. And then go ahead, bring your hands up. Whoa. Pretty intense, right? Shake, shake, shake that tension up in your body. Let's come on to hands and knees. The pointer fingers are forward. Take your toe, push your toe back to get a stretch in the back of your body. Take the other foot, flip the toes under. Try to let all 5 toes touch. We're going to come into a plank for 1 minute. Intense, I know. You do what you can. This is where you decide what you want your quality of life to be, how strong you want your body to be, how much you want to still do in your life for the rest of your life. And you do what's appropriate for you. Come down onto the forearms if you don't like to weight bear in your wrists. And then join me in the plank for 1 minute. Push away from the ground. Lengthen your head nice and long. From the crown of the head out each heel. Bring your awareness to your fingertips. Really activate the fingertips. Push the pinkies in, the ring finger, the middle, the pointer, and the thumbs. And then the whole hand, push away from the ground. Push your body weight back so it's in your feet. Bring your awareness to your right pinky, all the right toes, the big toe, and the top of the foot. Push the right foot in like crazy. Bring your awareness to the left foot. The left toe, all the toes, the big toe, top of the foot. Push the left foot in like crazy. Push both feet in, push the heels back, push the hands in. And then go ahead and bring yourself out. Shake, shake, shake. Do whatever you need to do to release. Sit in whatever position you'd like or be here. Let's grab, grab, grab in the air. Any tension, any stress, anything. Grab, grab, grab. Hold it tight. Hold it tight. Whatever happened today. I'm not strong. I have this. I have that. My shoulders, my blah, 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 blah. Inhale and exhale. Really long whoosh.
Inhale. Hold. Exhale. One more. Inhale, grab, grab, grab. All the negative thoughts that come up of what you can't do, what you didn't do, what you don't have, blah, 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 blah. Hold, hold, hold. Hold it. Let's take this onto the ground, into your Shavasana, your final rest, your integration. Create your space in whatever way you'd like for you to come down onto the ground into your Shavasana. Do whatever you need to do in your body. Find either the knees bent or come into that fully extended position, letting everything go here. Close the eyes, connect to your breath.
Gently begin to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers, your toes. Your ankles, your wrists, your whole body. Bring yourself into a bent knee position. Knees to chest, rocking side to side. And then all the way onto your side. Take your hand on the ground. You're going to push yourself away and up. Try to keep your eyes closed. We're going to close the practice with sound. So bring yourself into a nice upright position. Close your eyes. Bring your hands together. The thumbs touch the chest. Allow your awareness to go up and down your body to notice what you notice. Notice how you're feeling. Nice long spine. Press the heart to the hands to the heart. We'll close with the sound, like good. And hopefully that is what you're experiencing in your body after this beautiful practice. Let's take a big exhale to create space. Inhale. Bowing in recognition, in respect of what's in me is in you, that we're more alike than we are different. Namaste. All right. So I hope you guys feel good. And, some people could think that this is such an easy practice that we just did today. But if you do this to your maximum range, you do this to the maximum capacity that you can, you really go deep in your body for stretching, whatever movement you're in, whatever movement pattern. I feel so much in my body from that. And I have a very strong, limber body, very capable body at this point in my life with all that I do. So you have to determine how strongly you do your movements in order to have that level of effectiveness of lots of stretching and lots of strengthening, even if the movements look really simple. So did it get sticky today? Because I think I saw some stickiness. And I hope I'm still here. Gotta love technology. My technology was much better when I was in Europe. So I'm thinking I should go for a month to Europe and teach from there. All right, good, Michael. Thumbs up. Yeah, so thumbs up. Comments, yes, perfectly. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Hi, Shelly. Great, Canada. All right, Shelly. Okay, I'm here. Stevie. All right, Stevie, check your spam to make sure that you're still receiving information from me. And I try not to bombard. All right. Okay, great, Raina. Yeah, this was definitely a lot of hip and low back. So my low back people, I'm wondering how you're feeling. Nancy, I'm wondering how you're feeling, your hips and your back, because that's both of those things for you, right? All right. So thank you so much for joining me. I'll be here tomorrow for osteoporosis, a little stronger practice. Saturday for stress management. Practice with me all the time so that you'll have this strong body to be able to travel. And then I'm probably going to start taking groups to Scotland again, 2023. I don't know if 2022 will happen. And then who knows what's going to happen if that's going to happen, but whatever. Anyway, great, Lynn. Yeah. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.